guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, we're covering part 3 in the final update to the story I was covering earlier. And where we left off, our guy was definitely on the turnaround. His daughter hadn't spoken to him in 3 years. He and his wife were divorced. She took half his pension and what was coming to him. She took half of the balance of his IRA, his retirement accounts at the time. And our guy, because he was a passionate investor, loved studying companies, market history, things like that, and has balls, put his money in the right places and made a bunch of money, and he was able to make up for what he paid out to her during around 2020, 2021 on things, very good tech companies, and he's on the up. He used some of that money he was able to take out legally to get a down payment to buy a little house, fixer-upper, so he's on the path to starting a new life. And it left off with where things are going to be with his daughter. So we're going to wrap things up here. It's a long update, but it's worth it. The grand finale, how things end with his daughter, his ex-wife, and all that. So it continues, says here, so after her grandfather's funeral, my daughter finally contacted me and we got together. Oh joy. She never really apologized for specific items, but I did get a general apology, and I thought things were going okay, but strained. Of course she didn't get a full apology. She did it as little of an apology as she could. She spent a couple overnights with me for the holidays, and I saw her about once every month or two. But I expressed my disappointment that she still was not being fair in her time with both parents, as she lived with her mother. As I mentioned, I bought a house. My ex also bought a house prior to that, and our homes are about 10 miles apart. In spite of that, I got one lame excuse after another why she couldn't spend time with me. Things like, it's not convenient, mom isn't home much, so it isn't like we spend time together, blah, blah, blah. Bro, look, I get she's your daughter. I know that she's a shithead on so many levels. Didn't talk to you for 3 years. I don't know how the hell you want to even talk to her at this point. But again, I'm not a parent. So I don't get all these things, but I know myself. We all know how this is going to end. She's not going to change. During this time, she was dating a guy she met her sophomore year of college and told me how she spent weekends with his family quite often and had gone on week-long vacations with his family. That's why she's with him. So she can mooch off him because she likes the life that she got when she was a kid. In addition to weekends with former high school friends who lived in other parts of the state. I felt slighted and I told her this. Well, good for you for standing up for yourself, but it's going to fall on deaf ears. She countered with how she felt I didn't stay in contact by calling her often enough because she stormed out on you and talked to you. She's making it your fault. Of course, gaslighting you. Because she actually seemed busy, working a job on the weekends as a server at a restaurant, going to school, spending time with her boyfriend, and her social calendar, anytime I called, it always went to voicemail, and I only got a call back about half the time. So is she treating you like someone that she cares about? Is she treating you like somebody important? Does she treat you like a priority? The answer to all those questions, which are rhetorical, is a giant no. Don't chase someone that doesn't want to be chased. Don't chase someone that treats you like dog crap. I know she's your daughter, but sooner or later, I know you're going to finally see and accept reality. I didn't completely stop, but I did slow my efforts since she was making zero effort to see me any more often than before or take a few of my phone calls. I often made it clear that just having her here would be nice, and she was welcome to do anything she did at her mom's house when she wasn't at my place. Like study, for example, but there was no improvement. The winter of her senior year, I had scheduled a knee replacement surgery. Both my kids called me the day of the surgery to see how it went. My elderly disabled mother and her husband came to stay with me, who lived over 2 hours away. I needed help around the house, a driver to get me to my 3 times a week physical therapy, and needed somebody here in case I fell or had problems to call an ambulance or take me to the doctor. After about a week of the surgery, my mom, who had a failed hip replacement, had trouble getting in and out of the tub to take a shower, and is nearly blind and starting to get cagey. My mother missed her shower at home, and she didn't have to lift her bad leg to get in and out of bed and the comfort of her own home. So even though this is very difficult for your elderly, nearly blind mother, she's there to help her boy. Meanwhile, your kids, they're nowhere to be seen to come help you out. My mother started asking where my kids are. I shrugged it off at first, but after not hearing from either kid for 2 weeks and my mom's comments, I was pretty pissed off and called them both. After shaming them, they both stayed with me, so my mom and stepdad could go back to their home. Well, the thing is this. Yeah, that would have been nice if they reached out to you and say, hey, Dad, you need any help? Can I assist you in any way? That would have been nice and loving. What do you expect? And the problem is, guys, if there's something you want, gentlemen, in life, you got to communicate it. It doesn't sound like you communicated to your kids that you could use their help, that you just want them to just think of that. That's kind of acting like a woman does. A woman will be mad at a guy for not being a mind reader when it's like, you got to fucking communicate to us. So if that's what happened there, you can't. Yes, they should have wanted to come help you and see how you are and check in on you, but I'm not surprised they did that. And if you didn't communicate, I could use some help, kids. I'm being honest here. You got to communicate, guys. I can't give shit to women expecting men to be mind readers if guys expect other people to be mind readers for what we want. After shaming them, they both stayed with me so my mom and stepdad could go back to their home. A few days in, my son claimed he had to leave for a job interview. Later, my daughter told me that he lied and didn't have a job interview or any other commitments for the 2 weeks, so she was a little irritated. Flip a coin whether that's true or not. My daughter stayed a few more days after him since she was off for Christmas break at school, but the complaining was becoming more and more frequent. Of course, she's a giant complainer. Once it was safe for me to drive a few days later, she left. It was about this time that I started seriously asking myself what my final days would look like. Wondering if I got seriously ill or disabled, who would help me? Or if I died, how long would it take before any of them even bothered to check in on me? That's a very good question, man, given how they behave. They're self-centered a-holes. I'm glad your son went in the military and got his ass kicked, because we know that's what happened. Your son got his ass kicked in fucking boot camp. And improved a little bit, but he's still a little dick. I'm an avid YouTube viewer and search a lot of topics for do-it-yourself, nutrition, investments, and relationships. I did a fair bit of dating after the divorce and never had too many issues getting dates other than the general flakiness of modern women and how much hassle it is to actually get somebody to show up for a date. However, it didn't take long for me to realize dating for me was a complete waste of time, energy, and most importantly, my money. Yes, welcome to the fucking club. So many guys have been divorced here or just enough experience know that. But you had to learn on your own. I came across several channels from men in the R-pill space that kept saying that if you're looking for a traditional wife, get your passport and get the F out of the U.S. I started hearing this more and more on YouTube and my social feeds, and I began to seriously investigate it. This led me to consider going to the Philippines, and I made hundreds of contacts for advice, and I booked a flight. Hey, he says, that's another story. I may share later. I want to hear some of your other stories, man. Although it's relevant, I think I've wandered into the weeds with this story enough already. So here's the final straw with my daughter. Man, there have been a lot of fucking straws with your daughter, but here we go with the final one, which leads to our good ending. My daughter told me about her college graduation, and I initially agreed to go. Later, I realized that it was the same day as the opening day of the market where I sell my products. Remember, this guy's in business for himself. I'm not sure what he does, but he's in business for himself. I won't go into too much detail about my business, but it's in the agriculture sector, and at the time, I worked year-round, more than part-time, but not quite full-time. I have 26 Saturdays to sell my products. On the average market day, I have about 200 to 300 an hour in sales, and the opening day of the market has been historically the best sales day of the season for the previous 4 years. I battled in my mind over what to do, and it came down to this. Would my daughter give up $200 to $300 an hour and drive 150 miles to watch me walk across the stage for 30 seconds? There was no question in my mind she would not. Absolutely, she would never do it. Your daughter wouldn't drive 2 miles away for you. My God. Not only would I not be making any sales for that day, but I have competition at the market. It is quite possible that my not being there could result in lost repeat customer sales for the rest of the season because they purchased from my competition and returned to them instead of me going out of habit. I called my daughter and apologized, but I told her I was not going to make it. She was very mad, but cut the call short. So, if your daughter had been a good daughter, loving, supportive, loyal, treated you with respect, then I would say, skip the fucking day and go see her graduation and walk across the stage for 30 fucking seconds and listen to all the stupid speeches they give at the graduation. But given your daughter is a giant asshole on so many levels, no, she wouldn't do it for you. You don't owe her anything. Well, I felt bad, but still confident in my decision until my son came to stay with me for the event. He says that since his mom and sister have screaming fights nonstop, he doesn't like to stay with them. And of course, I like having him here anytime. He first told me I should have informed her earlier, but he understood. Work is more important. Then he dropped the bombshell. There was a dinner after the graduation ceremony that I was not invited to. Shocker. The reason, she, as in my daughter, thought it would be uncomfortable for me because mom was bringing her new boyfriend. Who, fucking Wimpy from Popeye? Obviously somebody bigger than her 300-pound ass. My son asked his sister, what are we going to do with Dad? And my daughter rolled her eyes and walked away. So was this before or after you told her you weren't coming to the graduation ceremony? He was very adamant that I know that, saying that if she denied it, she was lying. So she knew she was snubbing me and gave 0 fucks. See? It's like Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. And most of you guys know what I'm talking about. You'd see, if you don't know the cartoon Charlie Brown, Lucy would hold the football and encourage Charlie to come running over and kick the goddamn thing. And right before Charlie Brown would go to kick the damn ball, she'd pull the football away and fall flat on his ass because he was a dumbass. And then she'd encourage him, oh, no, do it again, do it. I won't pull it away. And he's like, no. And finally, he would do it again and go run down the fucking, you all know what I'm talking about here, and go to kick the football, and the bitch would pull the football away and he falls on his ass. In a way, no offense, you've been kind of Charlie Brown, and your daughter's that bitch-ass Lucy. There's a point. You stop running to kick the football because she's going to keep pulling the goddamn ball away. This is your moment. And Snoopy's over there, ha, 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 ha. Where the hell was I here? So let's review. I'm supposed to give up what turned out to be a $300 an hour workday, drive 150 miles, watch her walk across the stage for 30 seconds to get her diploma, waste half a day listening to bullshit speeches, then go home while everybody else gets to have a dinner in her honor that I'm not invited to. But mom's new boyfriend is welcome, and there were no plans to have a similar celebration that included me. Why would I possibly be offended? Exactly. And by the way, yeah, that's the worst part about graduations, the stupid-ass speeches. It's just like going to weddings and hearing the best man and the maid of dishonor giving their dumbass speeches. That's the worst. Well, my daughter called me again the morning after my son arrived, which was the day before the graduation, at around 5:30 in the morning. She called you at 5:30 in the morning? When she just get home from stripping? I was sleeping, so I was not on point as far as mental acuity. She laid into me pretty good. Over and over, I heard how this event was so important to her, and she worked so hard. How could I not show up for her? And my favorite, how could I be so selfish? God almighty. Again, send her ass back to China. It's not too late. I paused when she finished, and I asked her, so, tell me about your dinner afterwards. Silence and a long pause. I added, the one mom's new boyfriend was invited and I was not. Another pause. Then she changed the subject and launched into, so, what's this I hear are you moving to the Philippines? That has nothing to do with it. But notice she's doing the girl trick, twisting it around. She's acting like an a-hole, but she's twisting it around, making him be the bad guy here. I said, yeah, I'm considering it. After you and your brother didn't stop in after my surgery to see if I needed help, which I did, and my mother constantly asking where you two were, I started worrying about how I was going to live out my final days and realized I cannot count on you. There you go. And that is a very sad thing. If I don't find a wife or partner in the Philippines, I can hire live-in care who will do all my cooking, cleaning, laundry, shopping, and make sure if something happens to me, at least there's somebody who can make a call for help, unlike now. And because the cost of living is so much lower, I can get that for about $200 a month. I got silence from her, then the phone call disconnected. I haven't heard from her since. That was May of 2024, and it's now October 2025, going on a year and a half. There's your answer, man. I'm sorry you have such shitty kids. Your daughter's the worst. Your son is no saint. But compared to your daughter, vastly worse. Yes, things you did and didn't do contributed to some of that, her growing up. But who she is as an adult, it's all on her. There's a point, bad seed, you're done. So here's the rhetorical question, tongue-in-cheek. Am I the asshole? Answer, yes I am. And how many fucks do I give? 0. At some point, after being crapped on for years, you stop caring about people who don't really care about you. And you become comfortable with being the a-hole, especially when the other party is much, much, much bigger a-hole. I think I'm well beyond deserving the benefit of being one. Well, man, if being an asshole means that you take care of you, that you don't waste your time with people that treat you like you're nothing but a paycheck, that use you and all that, if you're going to not have anything to do with them and not go the extra mile for them, then fine. Welcome to the asshole club, because I'm one of those too. And you got tens of thousands of fellow assholes cheering you on. Yeah, there's a point that you got to be done with people like that. So good. Again, it's your daughter. I'm sorry it happened that way. It is tragic, but it is what it is. And by the way, did I hear you say something about potentially a future wife in the Philippines? For God's sakes, don't get married. Jesus. So now, going back to the original subject of the story, the matter of inheritance. Aha, this is going to be good. As I mentioned, my ex is expecting a substantial one. 7 figures according to the email I saw. 7 figures, huh? Your dumbass ex-wife, is going to piss through that money faster than a lottery winner. I did overhear at one point at my in-laws' house that my ex's grandmother was worth approximately $15 million when she died. With a bit of assumptions, which could be off, but I think I'm in the ballpark, I'm assuming my ex will be getting about $3 million, barring any major medical issues, and her mother who's still alive. Okay, $3 million. She will go through that so fast. I have zero doubt, based on a couple of decades of watching my ex spend money and how she's motivated to use that to get validation, she will burn through half of what she gets before she gets a grip on reality. Well, just spending at fucking fast food, that's going to go quick. Maybe she'll go and get liposuction on that truck-sized ass of hers, I don't know. Since she's a moron when it comes to investing, that's another conversation. I have doubts as to whether there will be anything left for my kids to inherit from her. I can see a future lesson and consequences in their future. There is no way there's going to be any money left over for your kids from her. There's not going to be enough money for her. As a matter of fact, I'm convinced that it depends when she inherits the money. It can not happen for another 20 years. But regardless, she's going to blow through it. So, to my estate, I have run retirement scenarios through a professional retirement calculating program. It is very comprehensive. It takes into account pension, Social Security, tax implications of IRAs, Roth IRAs, and even suggests Roth conversion strategies to minimize taxes in the long term, as well as a total tax savings projections using the recommendations. This is the software professional retirement planners use. Their website and several financing planning gurus recommend setting a goal for an 80% success rate of not running out of money by their projected life expectancy. The program gives a prediction for the rate of success once you input all your data. I ran my numbers using a conservative estimate of returns that is half of what my historical return has been, and it says I can start distributions 2 years from now at age 59.5 at a rate of a solid mid-six figures amount, with a remaining net balance of 8 figures at my projected passing at 90 years old, with a success rate of 99%. Well, that sounds great and all, but still there's a lot of things that can happen. And I might add, here's a question for you. In this sophisticated software to plan all this shit out, I want to know what their prediction is for the average rate of inflation. That's key. Because I'm willing to bet you whatever inflation rate they predict what it will be over the years and everything, I guarantee it's wrong. Because whatever the fucking federal government says inflation is, that ain't real inflation. Pretty much double it. You know, there's the CPI and the other things the government comes out with, and there's what real inflation is. What real people know at the price of fucking eggs, or the price of this or that. That people at the top don't even notice because they don't even care, because they got so much fucking money. But everybody else notices that. So you need to have an accurate number on inflation when figuring this shit out. So I hope Whatever it is they said, double it. Then come to your number. In other words, I could live like a king if I were so inclined, which I'm not, and I could end my days leaving my heirs with what the experts call a lot generational wealth. Instead, when I set up my trust, I specified a surviving spouse, should I have one at the time of my passing. No, you should not get married, dude. And a half dozen charities I thoroughly researched for various things that support causes I feel strongly about. They, as in the charities, will receive the total amount of my remaining estate when I die. I also specifically stated that my daughter was to get nothing. Damn right, sir. Damn right. But really do your homework on the charities. And give some money to animal charities. I'm an animal lover. That's right, my man. Your daughter doesn't get shit. And I guarantee you, she's going to contest that with everything she has. I want to know about your son. Is he getting anything? The attorney who drafted and submitted my trust told me that the details of why should be left out of the official document, of the reasons why I left out of the document. But I will be including a notary sealed, dated letter as to all the reasons why I decided that, so there is no doubt in the event she tries to contest it. Mark my words, as guaranteed as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, your daughter, with everything she has, is going to try to contest this. Guaranteed. Even if it's in a trust. Because if it was a regular will, it'd be easier for her. But even if it's in a trust, she's going to do something. Even if a lawyer knows that it can't be done, they'll still take her money. Some will. Foremost on the list is how her mother's behavior at the promise of an inheritance affected our marriage and was a major factor in our divorce. That brings me to the question for your viewers. Audience participation, guys. Should I warn her boyfriend about her and the horrible example my ex showed her? After viewing a substantial amount of SSM and other RP content, we all know that you don't just marry the girl, you marry the family, and more importantly, the family culture. You're damn right about that, sir. My daughter has purposely kept the guy she's been dating for almost 4 years away from me. I don't have the full scope of the narrative he's been fed, but I'm absolutely certain it involves me being 100% at fault for the split, and my wife being the poor victim instead of the lying, cheating, embezzling, financially and psychological abuser my ex-wife actually is. I've only spent time with him on 4 occasions, and they were short visits. Bro, I guarantee you, your daughter's boyfriend has heard everything to make you out to be the villain. Guaranteed. He seems like a good kid from a good family, and I know for a fact my daughter is not wife material. You know how awful it is to have to fucking come to the conclusion, guys, that your kid is basically a piece of shit? He deserves better, in my opinion. A huge bit of advice for the single relationship guys to consider when vetting a woman for a long-term relationship or marriage should always be her relationship with her father. If she doesn't have one without a very good reason, that should be a huge red flag. You're absolutely right. You also need to examine whether she respects him. How she treats her father is how she's going to treat you eventually. Yep. Secondly, her mother is an example. Whether good or bad, almost all women take on a lot, if not all, her mother's traits and habits. How does her mother treat her dad if he is still married to mom? And if not, what is the story she tells about him as to why they're no longer together? Listen closely and remember, women tell their parents about his flaws, but almost never tell the real story about how she contributed or caused a divorce. Now, of course, because it's always the bad guy. He's always the bad guy. If you can, get dad's side of the divorce story as well. So, should I tell this guy my daughter is dating or his parents, and what is your advice on how to approach this if I do? What say you, SSM and the viewers? Well, sir, before I answer that question, I got to say this. Holy crap, that was a story. It's been a long time since I've done a big 3-parter like this, and I enjoyed every minute of it. You've made mistakes. You know that. Hindsight is 20/20. But there ain't a fucking parent out there watching this video right now who has kids now, teenagers, or you're older and had kids that are now adults with their own kids. We all make mistakes. I didn't say we, as I don't have any fucking kids, but you know what I mean. They all make mistakes. But some of them, my God. And we can go back and forth about having a united front with your wife and being on the same page spending money, and you can't spoil the kids and kids when they're around other rich kids and all that. But the bottom line is you made mistakes, but you tried your best. And your kids, especially your daughter, she's a fucking asshole. And I don't blame you in the least. You had every right to disinherit her. And let's be honest, for all intents and purposes, she's disowned. That's my interpretation of this. Even though she will probably call you back one day and be like, Daddy, when she's desperate. Don't fall for it. Your son, better than her, but he still seems like a little dickwad to me. So, I don't know if he's in the will or not, in the inheritance or not. We'll see. Your wife's a fucking train wreck, and you should have ended it with her so early on. But I get you were trying to protect the kids and hopefully have them better and all that. But even staying with her that long, still they turned out to be primarily your daughter, a little asshole. So a lot of lessons in the story, guys. Absolutely. When it gets that bad, get out, okay? And you can't spoil them like that. And when things are getting out of hand, you have to be the unpopular one, even though that's difficult, and draw a line in the sand, lay down the law, even if wife's mad at you and the kids are mad at you, because a lot of times you were trying to keep peace, and it all made things worse. And I know you know this. Hindsight's 20/20. But we're trying to learn things here as well as be entertained and point out where you went wrong. But now you made your comeback. Good for you. I'm glad. Keep doing what you're doing in terms of your passion for investing and trading and all that type of stuff. Just be careful. And you'll do well and live well. But again, remember that inflation configuration for the retirement thing. They're never right about that. But as for going to the Philippines, knock yourself out. Have a blast. Don't get married. Just have a good time over there. It'll be vastly cheaper to live. And there you go. And as for your daughter about warning her boyfriend, I say hell yeah. But be aware of 3 things that are going to very likely happen. Number 1, you go tell the boyfriend, and he deserves to know what he's getting into, because we want to save a guy out there. Yes, it is very likely, absolutely, he's been told a story about you like you're the devil incarnate. And therefore, when you try to warn him, he's going to not take that too well. Number 2, almost guaranteed, he's going to go tell her that you came to him, pretty much telling him to break up with her. And I guarantee you she's banking on marrying this guy. Not because your daughter's capable of love. There ain't no way she's capable of love, given her behavior and her actions. But she wants a wedding, and she's probably cheating on him. And you say he's a nice kid. Well, he's probably the nice guy she settles with while she's hooking up with Chad and Tyrone. No offense, but I know you know I'm right. And number 3, guaranteed he tells her that, and she's going to lose her shit. She'll be calling you at 3:30 in the morning instead of 5:30 in the morning, yelling at you. And pretty much that'll be it. So if you don't care about that, if you are reached the point that you're done, then by all means. But expect those 3 things. That's what I think. That makes sense to me. But yes, he deserves to know. Now, some people may say, well, you know what? If he's with her, he's a dumbass, deserves what he gets. I can understand someone's take on that. But there are a lot of good guys out there that have gotten wrong with the wrong girl because the girl just put on a big show, sugar and spice and everything nice. Meanwhile, she's hooking up with Chad and Tyrone on the side. He's probably one of those kids. So he deserves to know. And then say your piece. And if he says, F you, old man, or something like that, okay. You said your piece. You try to help him. You back away. Don't expect to be invited to a wedding. And one day, he'll learn. But maybe who will listen to you? Who the hell knows? But other than that, sir, it is tragic that, the situation with the kids and all that, but it is what it is. But you're in your late 50s. It ain't over. You got plenty of time. So enjoy your life doing what you want to do. It makes you happy. By all means, take care of yourself. Eat healthy. I'm sure remembering what your wife looks like will motivate you to eat healthy, exercise and all that. And you just never know what can come down the road in terms of good things. You've been through a lot of shit. You've tried your best. And I think some good stuff, you deserve some good things coming your way. And so I'm cheering you on, and I really do wish you the best. And oh, by the way, I guarantee you one day, whenever your wife does inherit that money, she'll go through it very quick, just like the way she goes through chicken and nuggets really quick, and then she's going to be back. It could be 20 years, but she'll be calling you up, trying for a second chance, because obviously you'll be fine financially, and she will not. And you can laugh your ass off, and I guarantee it's going to happen. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Give this guy a shout out. Give him some support. And oh, yeah, if you want to hear more stories from him, because he's got other stories about her and her terrible investing and him going to the Philippines, and you want to hear more from this guy and his adventures, let him know in the comment section, and I guarantee you he'll definitely send something our way. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.